Hi, I'm David Davis from ActualTech Media, and I'm excited to be hosting another Spotlight event series interview. Glad to be joined by Katie Horvath, Chief Marketing Officer at Aunalytics. Katie, thanks for joining.
Oh, David, thank you very much for having me.
Well, I've been learning about Aunalytics, your company where you're the CMO, and you guys have been helping so many different companies out there with their data challenges, is how I would kind of try to frame it. But why don't you tell us about what you're doing there at Aunalytics? What problems are you solving?
We find that when it comes to data, data really is that they say it's the new gold or the new oil. It's the lasting asset that companies have as hardware and infrastructure comes and goes as technology evolves. And a lot of the data in across organizations is unused, or there's just so much of it, it's not in a form or format that's ready to answer business questions. So we really take an approach to data and to data analytics as let's not look at, trying to put in place a digital transformation project and measure success by implementation milestones. Yes, we are going to hit those, but rather our approach is, well, what business questions are you trying to answer? What are the outcomes that you want to achieve in your business? And then we build backwards from that to make sure that we put the data in the right form and format to answer those questions so that those outcomes can be achieved.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so critical is being able to find answers to those real business questions. And I know so many companies struggle with that simply because they can't get all the different pieces of data together and find out the real information, the real gold, as you all said, within that data. And so I know one of your, flagship products is Insight as a Service. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I think a lot of people are accustomed to hearing phrases like software as a service, where you're licensing a software each year and you're not like having to go buy a new floppy disk and, out of a box and put it in your machine. It's now everything seems to be as a service, whether it's cloud services or, different aspects. So really with Insights as a Service, what we're referencing is making sure that data is managed and organized so it's ready to answer those questions. And we pair that with our AI, our innovation lab, where they're creating, deep learning algorithms and models to be able to answer and address business challenges. So it's Insights as a Service because indeed we have a data platform. We are a data platform company. And each month we're updating and creating new models to address new business questions.
Okay. And so what types of companies out there are utilizing Insights as a Service, and how is it helping them?
So Insights as a Service you primarily see through our Daybreak product. And our Daybreak product was created specifically for the financial institution industry, for mid-sized banks and credit unions. The idea with it was that a lot of those big banks out there have their own in-house data science teams and data management teams. And how is the mid-market going to be able to compete with that when we know that access to talent is tough? And for most of these mid-market banks, it doesn't make sense to hire a bunch of data engineers and data scientists to get the expertise that's needed to have insights, to have data management, and to be able to really mine the data that they have. So we decided let's make sure that we are empowering that mid-market to compete against the big banks by having a side-by-side service model where we are not going to just sell somebody a platform, a tool, and have fun using it, being successful on your own. Instead, we pair that with that side-by-side access to our experts in data science and in data engineering. With Daybreak being built specifically for banks and for credit unions, we partner with, and we also have in-house our industry experts who have worked in banks and credit unions themselves, and they understand challenges that are being faced and try to build models working with our innovation lab to be able to answer those questions. Things like, what is our client, our customer, what's the product that they're most likely to buy next? And in order to come up with these insights, we are doing a few things that are unique as opposed to other maybe customer intelligence marketing tools that are more generic. We're actually going in and we are mining the transactional banking data. We're taking data from all of the different banking systems, from the core system, from lending, from all of the different areas across a bank that otherwise wouldn't necessarily be connected, and the data is living in silos. We combine it all, putting it in a similar form and format to be able to analyze it together. And then based upon the customer behavior that's evidenced with that transactional data, we can come up with propensity models. We know things that typically would trigger success with a loan as opposed to maybe a loan default. And we can recognize that such that at the time of application, the bank is making smarter lending decisions, as well as approaching their customers with the right product at the right time.
Very smart. I mean, I saw examples on your website of the many different types of questions that Insight as a Service can answer for these different types of organizations at all different levels of the organization. So I can see where it could be so powerful for the entire organization. And so if folks are watching this and this resonates with them, they'd like to get more insights out of their data, what do you recommend people do to get started?
Well, first off, I will say that we build our platform for the business user, for the non-technical business user, because those are the folks, the business analysts, who need answers. They don't necessarily want to have to write SQL code or learn how to do all of that kind of stuff just to get an answer to a pressing question or to have a dashboard ready for an executive. So the first thing I will say is that, we're built for universal access by anyone, whether it's a teller, whether it's the CEO of a bank president, business analysts, and of course the IT department, they can use it too. But the best way to get a hold of us would be to go to our website, Aunalytics.com. We have a lot of information specific to our Daybreak product, specific to our financial services industry solutions. And we would be happy to talk to you about your different business challenges and see if we can answer your questions.
Excellent. I love how this can help all levels of the organization, like you said, all the way from the teller to the CEO to the IT department. Katie, thank you so much for telling us about Insights as a Service from Aunalytics. Thanks for being on.
Thank you very much for having me.
And to everyone out there in the audience, if you enjoyed this Spotlight Series interview, check out all of our other interviews on our YouTube page.